Hello tanks and tankettes, welcome to Supporter Spotlight number 15, and this is quite appropriate because it's going to be the last one of 2015 as well. Christmas is nearly upon us. This will actually be the last video out before Christmas. I probably will take a couple of days over. I'm going to be at my parents', and although this isn't particularly a festive themed video, it does have kind of a theme going on. We've got 2 full replays, so it's going to be a little shorter in that normally I have 3 or 4 replays, but it's going to be 2 full ones, and they're both going to be tier 7 mediums. Now we're starting off with this game from Island Man 224. It's actually a slightly older game, it's a 9.1 game, and he's in the VK3002D. This is genuinely the only tank I ever gave up on. Now I nearly gave up on the Challenger as well, which is probably worse than this thing, but I had a specific reason for trying to go through the Challenger, and I actually ended up getting about halfway through and then just free XPing it. Whereas this, the Indian Panzer, the Leopards, they aren't really a massive priority for me in any way, shape or form, so I just kind of gave up on it. And it was quite a while ago. In fact, it might even have been before the Leopard 1 was introduced into the game, before this was added to that line. So for a while it was just a kind of an oddity on the German medium line. You didn't really have to play this thing, and not a lot of people did. Now, a big reason why it was frustrating for me anyway is the guns. You either get a 75mm with 150 pen, which is what a lot of the tier 6s I think get, or at least the tier 6 tank destroyers do. I'm not sure if any of the tier 6 mediums do actually. But anyway, the Schmelterm does, the medium premium. It's, you know, a tier 6, that's a 75mm, decent gun. At tier 6, the Short 88 is not a terrible gun on a medium tank. But at tier 7, it just feels downright lackluster. And although this, in theory, with the 75mm has better pen than the Comet is unquestionably the superior machine. And that is kind of appropriate that I've mentioned the Comet, because the Comet is going to be our other replay. Tier 7 mediums generally get a bit of a bad rap, and there are a couple of stinkers around, but there are some decent ones as well, and the Comet's definitely one. The T-34-1, which just... no, it wasn't the T-34-1 that just got buffed. I've corrected my thought before I even said finished the sentence. The T-34-2 got buffed, didn't it? But the T-34-1 is very good, the Comet is pretty good, although not everyone likes it. I'm trying to think what else there is. The T-20 is quite well regarded by some. There are some people that really like the T-43, although I am a bit mystified by that. But anyway, it's not all bad at tier 7, but this one, even these days, and I think it's been buffed since I played it, it's still not great. So Island Man is on the Encounter? No, not Encounter, that's... oh, I don't even know what this one's called because I never play it. And it's only 10 minutes, so he's on the defending side. He literally just has to stay alive 10 minutes and prevent the enemy team from capping, if it comes to that. And that would be a win, and that's one of the reasons why I never particularly like this game mode. I have, in the past, before it was added as an optional thing that you could untick after tier 6, I had the experience a couple of times of battles where I was either on a winning team or a losing team, just because the last people or persons were able to just run away, essentially. And I don't think that makes for a particularly fun anything, but maybe that's just me. So that VK has been particularly active, as we can see. He's just been sat all the way back there, about 100 meters from the spawn point, for the first 4 minutes of the game, so bravo that guy. Island Man decides, rather than try and snipe with this gun, which is not particularly accurate, he's going to turn around and re-engage these enemies which are pushing into this bit of the city. And he finds an inattentive Tiger P, who was way more focused on the KV-1S. And these are the old tier 6 KV-1Ss, by the way. So Island Man is able to just look at this. This Tiger P, I don't know if he was playing with horrible ping, I don't know if he's playing on a laptop, or maybe just a really potato PC, or... I don't know, but for whatever reason, he seems to be particularly ill-suited for dealing with a tank up close. And Island Man has been able to just wreck this guy without taking a single point of damage from him in return. Now, the Tiger P is not the most popular tier 7 heavy tank, but it's still got a pretty nice gun. It's not completely terrible, but that guy just got completely outplayed, and Who knows what the explanation was, but it was rather nice for Isle of Man. This Tiger one, meanwhile, well, it's the other Tiger. It's a one-shot kill, and yeah, this thing does not fire on the move particularly well. It may be better these days, but it's just... it's shots like that. I mean, they can happen regardless of the gun you're using, but shots like that with even this kind of level of pen, when you've got this matchmaking, is just kind of frustrating. He had to spend the extra time there to reload. And that's cost him the chance to get in an extra shot or two on this Panther, which, well, probably wouldn't have made any difference to the T29, because the T25-2 is there as well. But you never know. It's just one of those things where you never know. So he's going to go for the T25-2 first with a rather dangerous 90mm gun, and the guy does hit him back. The Panther, meanwhile, has finished off the T29, but is being rather inattentive to the fact he's being shot in the side. However, Isle of Man's just had the unwelcome discovery that the Bishop has started focusing him, and the Bishop has basically the same gun as the Burt, and they do actually have a Burt on their own team. But it's pretty nasty, it's very fast firing, and if one of those gets its teeth into you, then yeah. So, the Panther is, I don't quite know. He wasn't really paying attention, again, to Isle of Man. You know, the Tiger P was exactly the same, just totally not paying attention. And it has cost him his tank. Isle of Man has actually now managed to rack up over 3,000 damage, which with this gun is pretty impressive. And you do need good matchmaking for that kind of result. And I think I've had VKD games on the channel before, but probably not that many of them, because they don't get sent in very often, because it's not a very popular tank even now. So there's that VK who finally deigned to move into the town, and it has come right down to it. I mean, Isle of Man, of all the top tiers, has by far the most kills. There's one other tier 7 with a kill, which was a Tiger 1. He's got 4 kills, so Isle of Man's had to do a little bit of carrying here. But there's a good chance that he can manage to do this. Now, they're about to lose the VK, unfortunately. There are still artillery left, but the KV-1S is a one-shot. The Tiger, we don't quite know the state of just yet, but the VK will take more than 1 or 2 shots to kill, unfortunately. And there's the Tiger, who still has over 1,000 health. That's rather bad. Okay. Now, Isle of Man could have stopped to take a shot there, and instead chooses to just go right past and go for the KV-1S that's a one-shot instead. So that is a choice that may or may not have been, you know, it may or may not have consequences. I'm not going to say anything just now, but and you know, when I say consequences, I'm not going to say whether they're good or bad, you know, it's just one of those things. I'm foreshadowing. Yeah, I can do that. So he stops to aim at the VK, and nope, nada. You'd think being a low pen gun, it would be particularly accurate, so that you could aim at weak spots. You'd think. But to my knowledge, it isn't at all. So this is a bit of a mistake on Isle of Man's part at this stage. He goes in here for some reason, and I think he is maybe hoping to proxy spot the Tiger through the wall, because we know the Tiger must be capping, unless it's one of the arties. They've not been seen. Well, the Bishop actually was spotted earlier, but it's pretty damn slow. But it's very much more likely to be the Tiger here. And, well, they know where he is, basically. Because he's kind of just, he drove in here and they just kind of stuck around, and the Tigers found him. So this could be bad. Now, I can't remember if 9.1 was, it must have been after the Tiger had buffs, because for a long time the Tiger was a bit disappointing. But they buffed its rate of fire significantly, although they never touched the Tiger P for some reason. But again, he's able to, I mean, that Tiger didn't even turn his tank as Isle of Man just drove around him. So Isle of Man did take a hit, but rather more nastily, he's also taken a hit from artillery, which very nearly finished him off. Now, are you paying attention to the fact that we're in the last minute? He's not in an arty safe position right now. There's just that VK left. They can't cap. We have won this. All Isle of Man has to do is stay alive. And I think he kind of forgot, because he pops out to take a shot at the VK. There are 2 enemy RCs left. One takes a shot and misses. And this replay's been a bit judgery, by the way, at various places. I don't know why. But he then... Oh, and there's another one, probably the Bishop. He then decides to side scrape and dies. He was the last member of his team. There were 18 seconds on the clock there. All he had to do, and having said at the start, I don't like the game mode because you can just run away and live, and that can win a game. All he had to do was run away and live, and that would have won the game. But he just kind of derped out, I guess. He wasn't paying attention to the timer, or he thought he could side scrape against that guy. I don't know. But as it was, nearly 5,000 damage, high caliber, top gun in a VKD. I mean, he had to have really good matchmaking for it, but the rest of his team was seriously lackluster. The Bert was doing pretty well with nearly 2,000 damage. There was a Tiger with 1,000 damage, and everybody else was below 1,000. So despite his best efforts, he was not able to win. But when you get right down to it, he was not able to win because he gave it away. So, whoops. But I'm sure he learned something from that one, or at least we can hope that he did. Next we come to the excellently named Runaway Brave Sir Robin, whose name never fails to amuse me. Having slagged off the VKD, I have to say, maybe it's a lot better these days than when I played it. Maybe it's been buffed enough that it is a better experience, because when I played it, it was just kind of painful. Now, there are some people that consider the Comet here to be painful, but honestly, I really quite like it. It's just got a good enough combination of everything. And although this is technically a tier 8 battle, it's still pretty decent matchmaking because there's only a handful of tier 8s per side. Although the enemy team has ended up with one more for some reason, and that one more is an ISU. But it really depends where the ISU is. If he's camping all the way at the back somewhere and just sniping with that big Doom cannon, then that could be a problem. Or if he comes to the hill, that could be less of a problem because he's then vulnerable to the many arties that are in this game. Each team has 3 arties, and yes, there he is. Well, okay, you can give him credit for not camping at the back, maybe, even though I would have. But yeah, 3 arties on Muravanka. This is going to be... Muravanka? Malinovka. This is going to be an awkward game. Very, very awkward. This is going to be a game where you're going to be glad of having medium mobility, but you may be going to wish you had a bit more armour if you do end up getting hit. And already, yes, they're firing at him because he's the first thing spotted pretty much. So there's the ISU, who has taken some damage getting up there. The IS-3 is coming up here as well, and I think Brave Sir Robin was just trying to spot for arty, but he's got to be careful here himself of getting hit by enemy arty, because the Comet, having said I quite like it, and it has got some turret armour to work with, which is nice, but the hull, not so much. It is still a squashy medium tank in terms of its hull armour, so he can't really just sit in one spot and hope that arty doesn't hit him, because that quite possibly won't end very well at all. So he disengages a little bit, and then, well, there's a bunch of heavies coming up the hill, so this is a bit better now. But he's got to be a little careful here he doesn't get spotted, because he's vulnerable to being shot from the side. Still vulnerable to arty, and there we go, he is spotted. That was maybe the IS-3, but it was also maybe the Chaffee, the enemy Chaffee that we last saw going in the middle, and that's like the Hummel maybe? I just tried to shoot him. That was a lower caliber than the S51 to be sure. So yeah, the Chaffee could be spawning from the middle with the bushes there. They do still have a scout themselves, but they lost the Bulldog that was up there with Brave Sir Robin. I'm not quite sure what killed him, but it's a little unfortunate because a Bulldog on this map could be pretty powerful. But you know, this tank on this map can be pretty powerful if he gets away with not being murdered by arty. So his heavies have finally arrived at the hill. They're pushing things a bit. The fact that the enemy team does have the IS-3... oh, yeah, his teammate, the IS, took his platoon mate, rather, took a little bit of a battering there. The fact the enemy team has an IS-3 could be an advantage for them, but could be a disadvantage for the IS-3 player because artillery might just all focus on him because he's the top-tier heavy tank. So these things go both ways sometimes. If this was a game without artillery, it'd be a lot more comfortable for the IS-3, but it'd be a lot more comfortable for Sir Robin's team as well. So it's, yeah, there's always a double-edged sword with these things. So the T-34 is trying to use his gun depression and his turret armour to peekaboo and hopefully remain relatively safe from enemy tanks, but of course he can't do much about artillery without just hiding behind the windmill. And the T-34 is well, not the best side scraper or anything of that nature. And is that KB3 firing HE? Well, okay. So it's kind of like the best of a bad choice. You can either just take your chances with artillery in that guy's situation, or you can actually try and be a bit more active and do something. Or you can just hide behind a house and hope that the enemies don't come kill you. But yeah, there's no real good choices. Artillery kind of takes away the good choices. So that ISU was very low health, and Sir Robin has now a good chance to work over this IS-3 as well. And if he gets lucky with these engine deck shots, he might even get a fire. But the T-34, unfortunately, has just been killed, and the IS-3's managed to get his front arm around, so Robin backs off. Now, he does actually have, on this commander, and it's a thing you don't see very often, the skill, and I forget what it's called, where you can mouse over an enemy with your reticle and actually see what module damage they've taken. And in theory, it's quite a useful one. It's just there's so many more other useful skills for a commander. And I think that's why you never really see it. And it's why I've never used it on a commander, because there's just other stuff I'd rather have first. So the hill is now clear. They've lost their own top tier heavy, but they still have tier 8 arty. And actually, it's exactly the same for the enemy team. They've still got their tier 8 arty as well. But this Chaffee has just come charging up and is using the wreck rather intelligently, perhaps hoping that his team's arty can deal with brave Sir Robin. But he miscalculates, backs out too far. Sir Robin gets in 2 shots, and the KV-85 finishes him. And it was a risk for the Chaffee. I mean, he might have been shot by Sir Robin's team's artillery equally in return. But as it was, against a Chaffee gun, I mean, he did actually have some bounces there, which was... it's not going to do too much damage to him, even if he does take a hit. But it's always nice when the armor on this thing does do something. So he takes a couple of pot shots at their Tiger 1, but... well, that's artillery, that's a much bigger target, and that actually looks like their Tiger just got nuked by artillery as well. So that's fine, but it means he might not necessarily have artillery backup for taking out their arty. Although, having said that, well, there's the Lorraine just finishing off that 40-43. So Robin takes out the S-51, or he's about to, with a nice blind shot there. And that just leaves the Hummel. Tier 6 arty, you know, surely the least dangerous of the three. Surely the Hummel won't be a problem now that the big bad nasty tier 8 and the big bad nasty tier 7 artillery have been taken care of. Surely it'll be fine. And there's the Hummel. There's the Hummel, who shotguns him in the side for 1,008 damage. Yes. Balanced though, very balanced. Yes. Anyway, however, Sir Robin has lived. He is just clinging on to life, and the enemy team is rapidly running out of tanks. And if he can get this kill, that'd be rather nice. Although, oh, that 152 was looking at him rather worryingly there. He kind of managed to donk a few shots. And the Bulldog, the remaining Bulldog, no, the KV-3 takes out the enemy Bulldog, because their Bulldog has already died well before. Anyway, never mind. I'm getting confused about whose Bulldog was who. The surprise result of this game was a Scout Medal. Yes, I was not expecting that. Well, obviously having seen the result screen, I was expecting it, but just having seen the replay, you wouldn't expect it. And it by far explains why Sir Robin is top of the team with, well, 5 kills, yes, but 1,400 base XP for only 1,800 damage? Yeah, he must have done a bit of spotting to go along with that scouting, because you're not going to get that kind of result on 1,800 damage. And there we go, nearly 3k spotting. So he was able to pick up a lot of artillery spotting. And the spotting system in World of Tanks is such that you just never know. You really just never know if it's going to be yours, if it's going to be somebody else's. Sometimes you're convinced you've had a really good spotting game, and nope, nada. Other times you think, that was probably a bit naff, and you discover you've gotten, you know, several thousand points of spotting damage, and you're at the top of the team list, and you're just kind of baffled. Such is the spotting system of World of Tanks. Anyway, so there we go. That was a pretty good game, I thought. And I'm just going to wrap up this video by saying, well, firstly, I'm going to say I'm a bit of a dunce, because I realised, after having done my mods video and said I'm not going to be playing as much online games, with World of Tanks and Armoured Warfare, I can literally just turn off the chat via the in-game options, and that's fine. I can't do it with warships, but I can stick a post-it note on the screen, which is unless they've put an option in with patch 5.2, which has literally just come out today. I don't know. But yeah, I resorted over the last couple of days to literally a post-it note on the side of my screen so I can't read the in-game chat. Yeah. So lastly, the last thing is Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays. You know, delete as appropriate. And I hope that you all have a good one. I hope you don't get too stressed. And I will definitely be, like I said, off for a few days. But there'll be some stuff going on between Christmas and New Year, including maybe some giveaways on my stream. So maybe you should go and click that follow button on my Twitch page, hey? So I hope you've enjoyed this video. And if you have, you can leave any comments below. You can hit the like button. You can subscribe to my channel. And as always, stay tuned for more.